Namaskaram. I said namaskaram. Seeing that I have to say two namaskarams to get one namaskaram from you, no, I'm used to this. It's been 40 years. It's 40 years. So, on that day, when I went up Chamundi Hill, not with any intent, simply. It's wonderful today. We are sitting here at the foothills of Velangiri. From that day, Chamundi to Velangiri, it's been a long journey, but that day feels just like it was yesterday or day before. And should I speak to you about the ecstasy of that or the pain of the consequences? Both, everything. Everything will take 40 years. So, when without knowing why, when I burst into a nameless ecstasy within myself, every cell in my body dripping ecstasy, the only thing that my logical mind, not just logical, super skeptical mind, could tell me was, maybe I'm going off my rocker. That day when I went up, I was a very smart young man. But I lost him there. I don't know what happened to him, because he was made up by me. And this guy came and trampled on him and destroyed him completely. He was a really smart man. Lost him, completely lost him. But left with, as I said, nameless ecstasies bursting out, overflowing. When I kind of got control over that as to how to hold it without looking like a fool, when I figured that out, I realized this is so simple. If I just create a little bit of space between me and my physiological process or my body, between me and my psychological process or my mind, if I just create a little bit of space, well, every cell in my body is dripping ecstasy. When I saw it's this simple, I could not I could not help thinking of making it happen to everybody, because I've been looking around, meeting various kinds of people, trying to experiment with life in so many ways. By then, I was only 25, but I had traveled a lot across the country. I've been in the remotest parts, slept in huts with very basic labor class of people, slept in good homes, been around with my family, friends and various things. I also, because I was deeply kind of disturbed within myself, because I saw so much injustice in the world. Wherever I saw injustice. In the social systems, in the economic system, in the political system, in the religious realm, even the family structure, I thought, was injustice. When you see injustice and when you're young, you get angry. So I was kind of always angry, not about anybody, simply angry. So, when I saw I was causing not exactly misery, but anger is a kind of suffering too. And I saw so much suffering, just to experiment with life, I spent a few nights, this was this was a dangerous thing to do because my father was a medical officer in the Indian Railways. But because I heard that life on the railway platform is at its worst, so I wanted to see how bad it is. So I went and slept in the Mysore railway station for about 3 nights. And I saw a really low level of life. I cannot even talk about it here. That low level of life. So I thought everywhere there is injustice. I tried to join a revolution. Well, I saw there also there was too much injustice. So I gave that up. And when I found that just if you sit here, being untouched by the physical and mental processes, you could be ecstatic. I thought the whole world will want it. Well, then I sat down and made a plan for the population that was there at that time. I thought a plan of action for 2.5 years, I will make the whole world blissful. See what a failure I am. Because all of you like this, I have to do 2 namaskarams to get 1 namaskaram. Because being involved in the simple process of life, most people have lost the fundamental spirit of life. Process has overtaken the spirit. How you were as a child. I'm not holding your childhood as an ideal. I'm saying that is the square one of life. If any progress had happened, by now you should be dripping ecstasy. Hello? For the joy and playfulness and exuberance that you started with, by now, whatever is your age, you should be dripping heap of ecstasy. But that didn't happen because the simple processes of life and in turn the reflection of that in your mind, which became psychological processes, have occupied more space within you than the very spirit of life. Is he honking at me? Okay. So then I started in my own way because I've been practicing yoga since I was 12 years of age. I thought, this is a good way to share my experience. My effort was to somehow rub off my experience of blissfulness and ecstasy upon people. Then I found, though I knew half the town, for various reasons I was socially active and people knew me, But when I tried to enroll them into my program, which was a 2-hour, 4-day program, nobody wants to come. Hello? Because lot of people had concluded that I'm dangerous. Why am I dangerous? Simply because our business, or a few businesses that I had built by my own dint, I didn't owe money to anybody, nor did anybody give me anything to make these things happen. When I suddenly decided to just drop them, people thought this is very dangerous, he's a wrong influence upon us. So nobody wants to come. Then I had to cajole them, coerce them, threaten them to somehow get me to my program. Only 7 people turned up. But I'm extremely grateful to those 7 people because till that time, I was in a kind of condition where I was not willing to learn anything from them, learn anything from anybody, nor was I capable of teaching anything to anybody. I must tell you, this will be very surprising for you. This happened when I was in my pre-university, that there was a debate and some fancy subject anyway. Then everybody was participating, and me and debates and any that kind of activity, academic activity and me were off. Some sport and extracurricular activity, outside college activity, I was on, full on. So, I wouldn't get into such things. But then they asked us to write an essay, so I wrote 2-3 pages of that. Our teacher read this and said, "This is very good, you must come to the debate." I said, "No, I'm not interested," because it was a competition. I never entered any competition in my life. A few competitions or few games that I played for the school, whatever cups and medals that came, I never went there to receive them, because I always had a disdain. Trying to be better than somebody never kind of excited me. I'm better than you, that sounded kind of vulgar to me, so I never went into competitions. If I went, I never went for the prize distribution. So when they said debate, I said I'm not interested. But then a whole lot of my friends said, "This is great, what you have written is great, you must come and just say this, what you have written." After much coaxing, I said, "Okay," and I went. This I'm supposed to speak for just about 5 minutes. I know everything what to say, but till then I had never spoken in front of people. I never thought it was an issue. So I went and stood there, wanting to speak what I have already written myself. But I looked at people and I went blank. I couldn't say a single word. I stood there for 3 minutes and all my friends saying, come on, say it, say it." Nothing. Then 3 minutes they rang the bell, because if you don't speak for 3 minutes, it's over for you. Then I came down. Then I said, "This is not for me, never again I will speak in front of people, because I don't seem to be good at it." So, teaching was not my forte in any way. But these 7 people, I'm grateful to them because they came and sat down. First day, 2 hours. Second day, these 2 hours became 5 to 6 hours. Third day also similar kind of hours. When fourth day came, they said, "This is too good, we want to listen some more." So it got extended to 5 days and then 6 days. Then it became a 6-day program. No control over what happens, simply whichever way it goes. What I saw was, From 1982, 83 to 89, for those 6 years, nearly 7 years maybe, 6.5 years, when I conducted these programs for all kinds of people, everybody was dazzled, but they didn't know what I was trying to say. They knew there is something here of value, but nobody could figure out what it is. Initially, I was kind of, okay, at least I'm leaving people dazzled, they'll go home and think and get it. But then I saw leaving people just dazzled is no good. So in 87, 88, I transformed the whole way I transmit things and try to bring an experience by shaking them to a point. At least 80% of them would be crawling. If I'm just speaking, they would be crawling on the floor all over the place, not knowing what's happening to them. So that was a good mop of the floor, but tears and crawling and screaming was happening. But I knew if we have to reach the world, we have to refine this further. So, I try to teach in many ways. Programs were never standard. Sometimes these programs for 6 days, sometimes 12 days, 13 days. Full 12 days, I will speak only motorcycles. Full 12 days, I'll speak only butterflies. Full 12 days, I'll talk only flowers. Because I saw it doesn't matter what you talk about, as long as you transmit the experience, that's all that it matters. Then a time came when I would do one program and then disappear. Nobody knows where I am, I'm just gone across the country and come back and again start another program fresh. So people started, too many people, and slowly they said, we want more, more, more. I got trapped. Then we thought we will train teachers. Once training of teachers came up, then we had to standardize the program, which I didn't like because I could walk in and talk about just anything and it would still work. Now I had to talk about the same thing. It was extremely difficult for me to talk about the same thing in every class. For about 2 years, I struggled to talk about the same thing. It's very, very difficult because I was not made that way. I am not structured in that sense. So it took a lot of beating myself up and structuring myself so that I deliver a structured program so that we can train people. Even then, when I decided to train people for teaching this basic program that today we call as inner engineering, everybody, whoever, those few people that we brought in to train, they said, there is no way anybody else can teach this program, how is it even possible? To make them believe that they can do it, it took a lot, but once we trained them, then people came back and told me, Sadhguru, your teachers are better than you. I said, that's great. So this went on, and then shifting to online, I always knew that we have to go technology even before the technologies were where they are today, or even much more rudimentary way in 2006, 2007. Even well before that, I spoke to a few people that we have to deliver this on large platforms. Otherwise, we will not make any significant change. It doesn't matter, I can scream myself forever, but it's not going to happen because many great beings have come. When they spoke, hardly anybody could hear them, and after they went, all the other people misinterpreted them in 1,000 different ways. This is going to happen to us also. So we have to go online. We have to find platforms to deliver. I'm saying this before we had these platforms. It took a lot of convincing to our own people to make them understand that it could be delivered online. It took nearly 8 to 10 years to convince the people within the foundation that this can be delivered online. Everybody thought this is not possible. But today, the online inner engineering is going wonderfully well, and today you should probably already know this, being the 40th year or 40 years, we are delivering a much more upgraded inner engineering, adding various aspects to enhance experience. From today on, it'll be launched and what used to be 2 programs, 7 days of inner engineering preparatory and 2 days of completion, now is merged into 1 program, and that means the cost for people will come down by nearly 60%. No, don't clap your hands, because the revenue for the foundation also comes down by 60%. But we want this to happen, so we merge 2 programs into 1. You just enroll for Shambhavi and inner engineering preparation comes free of cost, that's how it is. And one has to enroll for a certain day, that is probably every week of the year, there is an initiation process or Shambhavi initiation, and you can enroll for that, and before that, within 15-20 days, you must go through the 7-day event. And I would urge all of you who have been through the programs before should go through this, because it's much more enhanced. There are various other aspects added to this and little more entertainment also for you. So that people are more engaged. As we've been saying, today is the day of Gramotsavam, it's important. We do very serious things playfully, very important. If we don't learn to do things playfully, we will carry life as a great burden upon our heads, especially spiritual process. If you don't learn to do it playfully, then you will see people who claim to be spiritual, they look like goats. No, I don't wish to insult the goats, they're quite lively as far as I can see. In the name of spirituality, people have made themselves half-dead people. Spiritual people should be doubly alive, but they're half alive and they claim they're spiritual. So this is very important, especially if you think you're doing something significant. Doing it playfully is very important, otherwise the very burden of carrying something so serious makes you dead serious and you're in the wrong order of life. First you should get serious and then you should be dead. If you become dead serious, wrong way of doing life, absolutely wrong order of things. So today particularly is very important because the world is facing certain situations. There are many aspects to this. One important aspect is the mental health on the planet, the human mental health on the planet is in serious question. When I say in serious question, mental health is no more, or mental ill health is no more something that happens to somebody far away, somebody goes crazy. No, we are coming to a time and age where just about anybody can lose their mental balance. It is expected that in the next 15 to 20 years, there may be hardly any family left without at least one mentally ill person. If you look at the statistics, in United States and Western Europe, you must understand, don't think only Americans go crazy. They're always first on the list, America first, you know They are first on the list, everybody else will follow. India is not far behind. 20% of the adults in United States suffer from some kind of diagnosed mental illness. So many others have not been diagnosed, even doctors cannot treat them, they're so they don't go to doctors, they're just… their families and friends will have to bear with their madness. 55%, that is 28 million people with mental illness and no treatment. This is the reality of the world. Every 20 seconds, somebody commits suicide on this planet. Every 20 seconds. Is there a solution for this? Every 40 minutes, a child below 15 years of age commits suicide in India. When children want to kill themselves, we must understand we are doing something fundamentally wrong. That's all. When children, who should be bursting with life, they are embodiment of exuberance, but when they want to take their own life, that means we are doing something fundamentally wrong. There are various aspects to this, the type of education that we do, our social situations, and the kind of food we are eating, the kind of atmosphere we are living in, everything adding up. Physical illnesses will come in a big way later, but the first thing that fails is the software. Hardware will also fail after some time. That is also bound to happen, but before that, we hope we'll turn around. But right now, mental illnesses are going through the roof. Over 147 million people on the planet are mentally ill. That's not a small number, but that number is increasing by the day. You know, in 1890, for the first time, they invented a cigarette rolling machine. Today annually, about 8.5 trillion cigarettes are rolled per year. That is, on an average, 14 billion cigarettes are consumed per day. We are only 8 billion people. How many do you smoke? So, smoking a cigarette, consuming alcohol, or consumption of other kinds of drugs, this is not a moral issue, this is an existential issue. What is it doing to your physiological fabric and your mental fabric? That is the issue. The question is not about whether it's right or wrong. When certain experiments were done, a science magazine conducted certain experiments in United States that the choice was, for 15 minutes, you either sit quietly or you opt for an electric shock. Can you believe this? Over 2/3 of the men preferred an electric shock. 1/4 of the women preferred an electric shock. It's better to have an electric shock than sit quietly. So, this is very important at a time like this, when human beings are on such levels of agitation, such levels of irritation, such levels of fragile mental fabric. Inner engineering acquires a serious significance. Inner engineering is not about changing your attitudes, not about changing your ethic, not about learning a few tricks. This is about changing your very chemistry, making your very chemistry into your blissful chemistry. This is what it is about. This needs to happen to the world. I have, last year they say our video views were 3.51 billion people, or 3.51 billion views. So we are nearly touching half the adult population. But my goal 40 years ago was to touch the whole population. Hello? So, as a part of this, I'm requesting all of you, wherever you are, online, and those of you who are here, you must see this happens. Please, let me die with little better percentage. Hello? How much percentage will you increase for me? That'll take a lot of work. So, this is very important that human beings do something about themselves, daily investing 21 minutes upon their own well-being. Can't we inspire human beings to do something for their own well-being? They don't have to do anything for anybody, for themselves. Hello? But it's not been… I do things joyfully, but it's not been an easy task. Getting people to be concerned about their own well-being, you will be surprised how resistant they are to their own well-being. So, take it upon yourself, because if you want to live in a wonderful world, if you want to live in at least a sane world, it's important everybody around you is sane. And World Health Organization is predicting a pandemic, mental illness pandemic. That means just about everybody around you will be like that. Recently, the Surgeon General of United States said 1 in 2 Americans are feeling lonely. 1 in 2. What's happening to the other guy? Loneliness is the incubation period for depression. Once you feel lonely for a certain period of time, then you will go down. You need to understand, I've been talking about this for 40 years now, that if you are willing, you can rewire your brain completely today. In 24 hours' time, you can alter your epigenetic system in such a way that no matter who your father and mother were, no matter what your genetic quality is, you can be a completely different person tomorrow morning. Well, all the WhatsApp scientists have been chiding me for this. Those WhatsApp scientists obviously are not healthy in their mind, it's very clear. But today, modern science is clearly establishing this, that genetics are not an absolute. Genetics are only suggestive. They don't really determine anything absolutely. They are only suggesting, it could be like this, but you can ignore the suggestion and do this if you wish. And what is karmic also have been interpreted by very fatalistic people that karma means that's the way your life will happen, it's destiny and it's your fate. No, karma is only a platform. Well, it takes you up to this far. Whether you dance or you bury yourself in this is up to you. Whether you sink into your karma and bury yourself into it, or you firm this up and dance upon it, is in your hands. Neither karma nor genetics can impede your life if you are willing to take charge. But for you to take charge, a little support by changing the patterns of your energy, by changing the patterns of your chemistry, by changing the patterns of your psychological process, only then you have this freedom to change this. In the last 5 years, we have established a center called Sadhguru Center for Conscious Planet in Harvard Medical School in Beth Israel Hospital. They have done phenomenal amount of work and many things. In the month of October, there is a very important conference there. Please make sure that you acquaint yourself with that, either being live on that day or later on you can look at the content. Some of the top scientists are participating. And till now what they found is, there is 70% increase in endocannabinoids and also the BDNF or the brain-derived neurotropic factors. This 70% increase in endocannabinoids is 23% more than what happens in a sexual orgasm or intense exercise. Just sitting here, you can be in such states of ecstasy and blissfulness that you don't have to run after this or that to find that. You don't have to run after bottles of alcohol or pills or men or women. Sitting here, you can be blissful. Once you're blissful by your own nature, your life is in your hands. You can decide what to do, what not to do, without being compulsively doing something. This is a significant shift that every human being needs right now. Almost everything that they do is in a compulsive basis. Either the body is driving them, or thoughts are driving them, emotions are driving them, or social situations are driving them. People ask you, are you driven? I keep telling them, no, I drive. I am not driven by anything. Sadhguru, you are driven by your mission. I am not driven by my mission, I drive my mission. It's very important, all of us drive this life where we want. We shouldn't be driven by something. If we are driven by something, we should take away the tag being from you. We must call you a human creature. If you want to be a human being, you must be driving this life. Otherwise, this is not a being, this is a creature. A creature is driven by various compulsions, instincts and hormones and stuff. A human being has all these things. But you are a human being only when we drive these things the way we want. Otherwise, there is no being. Being means you have a choice of being. You can be whichever way you want. So, this inner engineering now has taken on a new turn, offered in a new way. This is being offered as because I must tell you this, particularly in Western countries, they fear Isha. Why means, what, 17 million volunteers? Over 17 million volunteers, this is like a big church. I said, no, it's not a church, it's just crazy people coming together and wanting to do the same thing. They said, no, it's too big an organization, we don't want. We don't mind you, Sadhguru, but this organization. Then I thought this is funny initially, but then when I look back, I also had a lot of resistance towards any organization at one time. That's why when people said, Sadhguru, set up something, I kept on saying no, postponing it till the last moment. When there was no other way, that's when I set up the foundation. Because I thought organization is corruption. Individually I will do what I have to do, keeping it very clean and nice, never allowing anything to happen. So I understood their fears. So as a part of this, we are changing the whole branding of everything that we do. All the spiritual offerings that we do will be just branded with Sadhguru. All the businesses like Isha Life and this and that, outreach and whatever else, they all are under Isha. Spiritual offerings will be with me or just branded as me. Because nobody wants to do a spiritual process with an organization. They want to do with somebody that they trust. So, this is how it'll be, so from now on it'll be in 7 steps. Transform your life with Sadhguru. This is the program in engineering. Seven steps. As you know, there are seven, and because right now L1, L1, I'm not talking about your vertebrae. L1, you don't know? Aditya L1? Oh, okay. So, in the Indian way of depicting things, the Surya Deva, the sun god, has a chariot with 7 horses. This is a symbolic way of saying thousands of years ago that the light is made up of 7 different colors. This is thousands of years ago, okay? When nobody had understood what is refraction probably in the rest of the world. So 7 horses driving Surya Deva's chariot. 7 notes of the music, 7 chakras, 7 rivers, 7 lokas, you've heard of all this. And Sapta Rishis. This is not just in India. If you look at other cultures, well, everywhere they recognize there are 7 days in a week. The Jewish culture said God works for 6 days and rested for 1 day, which is the Sabbath day, which was a Saturday. So that's 7 days. Because leaving the earth and the moon, we recognize 7 other planetary aspects which has influence on us, which we call as grahas. Graha does not mean a planet, graha means an influence. Something has an influence on you. Or when you perceive something, grahikarde, irukkuda Tamil? Grahipu means to perceive. So something which has an influence on you and makes you perceive life in a certain way is a graha. So we recognized 9 aspects of this planetary system which has a significant influence. In these 9, we discounted earth and moon as part of our daily life and the remaining are 7. So 7 grahas having influence on us. So Christian philosophy also took to the same thing and 6 days God worked, but He took a vacation on the next day. Then the Jewish people, because you had to be something different, your God has to be something different, so they made Him take rest on Sunday. The Muslims or the Islamic religion did the same thing, but they wanted to change the day once again. So they didn't want to take Monday because the Hindus were already doing Monday, so they took Friday. But the same thing, 7 days, 7 aspects. So the great scriptures in the world, various 7 are there, 7 forms of Quran, and Native American directions are 7, north, east, south, west, up, down and inward. 7 directions, 7 gods of the Greeks, 7 wonders of the world, 7 numerals of the Roman numerical system, and various other things running into 7. In 7 steps, transform your life with Sadhguru. So, what does this new launch mean? I want all of you who have been through the program also, there are mechanisms set up for you, those of you who've already been through how to go through this, but you must go through this. There are also samples they're giving you so that you can have an experience of how the new people are getting a better program than you. See, somebody said those who last are first. Someone said, Those who stand last in the line are first, those who stand first are last. You know? You don't know, it's okay. You don't have to know these things. But those who come late always get things better because things improve over a period of time. Nothing has improved. Cosmetics have improved. The essence is still the same, but I see some cosmetic is needed for you, so I would say that you must go through the new program in whichever way they'll offer it to you in many different forms. And above all, this inner engineering is coming as one package, that is its Shambhavi, which is the important aspect, and 6 days of preparation. This is coming as the inner engineering class part. Please make use of it and see that it reaches the world. Each one of you, those of you who are here and those of you who are online, wherever you are, I won't ask you for a number. Within yourself you commit, I will make sure. Today is September 23rd. Before September 23rd, 2024, how many people will I make sure they go through inner engineering? You decide your own number. I will not tell you, but fix some number. Let it not be a 0. Hello? Yes, I want my uncle to go through, but my uncle… Maybe uncle wants you to pay. Please pay. I want my nephew to go through, but he… Don't listen. If your nephew doesn't go through, he is 22 years of age, find another 10 boys who are 22 years of age and enroll them. Hello? They will become more than your nephews, believe me. Haven't you all become more than my children? So, I want you to know the joy of that. So make sure, what is that number that you will decide? I will never ask you, but decide some number and surprise me by 2024. We have substantial number because this new number of new meditators are very needed for us to roll out what is called as Conscious Planet Movement in September 2024. See, hello? Whether you understand or not, because you may not understand, many of the men you have shaved and ladies have makeup and some of you have Botox, so you may not understand this. See, if you're like this, every day you look at yourself, you understand your time is running out. If you're all made up, you may not understand that your time is running out. This happened. One day, Miss Matilda, you know her? No. Miss Matilda was walking on the street, she was 53 years of age, but she got hit by a bus and all broken. They took her to the hospital, she was barely conscious, doctors were giving up hope. She prayed, "Oh God, please, I have not even married yet. I've been busy with my career and you just want me to die now? Please, don't take me now, give me some years." God appeared in the hospital room. It's a very, it's one place where he appears very often, I believe. And God said, "Matilda, it's all right, I give you 100 years. And miraculously she recovered in the next 3 to 4 weeks. And she got a huge insurance amount, which was much more than what she had to pay the hospital. Then she decided she will have a redo of herself. She got the lips done, she got every part of her body done, she changed her hair, everything, full made up. 3 months she stayed in the hospital and got completely redone, brand new. She stepped out of the hospital, she was just walking in her new designer clothes and high heels, she was crossing the street, a bus came and rammed into her. And she died. She went to heaven. There she said, God, why did you do this to me? You promised me 100 years of life and I got myself all done. And I stepped out of the hospital and this damn bus, boom. God looked at her and said, oh, Matilda, that was you, I couldn't recognize you. So, it's a lot of advantage just to remain as you are, because it keeps telling you your time is running out. So anyway, every day in the morning, without your makeup, without all the do's, just look at yourself, you know your time is running out. Because all our time is running out, because none of us can stop time. I know you have a stopwatch, but you can't stop time, nor can you rewind it. Nor can you ask for yesterday to come back tomorrow. There is no such arrangement in the universe. It just rolls and rolls and rolls, only forward, never backward. So all of us, our time is running out. So, let's see what best we can do to create a more blissful world, more sane world, because sanity is becoming a serious issue. You probably did not understand the connection between Save Soil movement and mental health. You must understand, there are substantial studies, look it up, all of you must educate yourself on these things. There are substantial studies, just go into the website of Sadhguru Center for Conscious Planet, there is a whole lot of research. Apart from that, there is much more that other people have done. There is substantial evidence to show lack of micronutrients in the food that you eat, which is a consequence of lack of organic content in the soil, and mental fragility or mental imbalance are very directly connected. There is simply no two ways about this, there is enough scientific study to show this. So, regenerating soil is an important part of keeping our physical and mental health, and making sure everybody around is healthy is also important, as physical ailments can be infectious. Mental ailments have an influence. If two people around you are depressed, slowly you will also sink into that. It is not only that, there is substantial studies to show that if you cultivate a certain level of lack of enthusiasm, depression, frustration, it permeates into the next generation. It not only permeates into people around you, it also permeates into next generation. If you have any care or concern for your children, if you have any care or concern for future generations of life, it's very important that you remain mentally stable, sane, exuberant and blissful. If you're willing, ecstatic. We have all the tools to make this happen, but you have to take the tools to the rest of the world. As you see, I'm aging, I'm still not exhausted, but I'm aging, it's not the same. So, all of you young people, oh, I thought suddenly everybody has disowned being young. If you're alive, you're young. If you're old enough, you should be dead. Hello? If you're alive, you're still young enough to do something. So, let's make this happen, because this is an important aspect of life. If we don't attend to this now, the generation that is there now and the coming generation will suffer immensely. Mental ailments are not a joke. Mental ailments are not a laughing matter. Mental ailments are profound suffering. You don't wish it upon anybody, nor do you ever wish it upon yourself. Never utter the word, "I will get mad," and you may, you know. So, a whole lot of other things are there, studies and statistics to show how mental illness is mushrooming across the world, and now governments, legal entities are coming to this thing that we cannot handle mental illness without cannabis, without magic mushrooms. In many states and nations, they are making this legal because they are not able to contain people, maintain balance. So if you are mentally agitated, the best thing is to put you to sleep. If you sleep, instead of 4, 6 or 8 hours a day, if you sleep 16 hours a day, you could pretend to be sane for another 8 hours and again go back to sleep. This is not a solution. A diversionary tactic is not a solution. Right now, almost everything that human beings are doing is largely diversionary. A diversion, never understand a diversion as a solution. Please look at your own lives. How many diversions are you facing, are you using in your life? If you don't know what to do, pick up the phone. 3 days, keep the phone down, turn off the television, don't pick up a book or a newspaper, don't talk to anybody, just sit quietly, fully alert. You will see what is your mental condition. And to change this, we can re-engineer your brains completely in a matter of few days. Just 3 days, if you don't take in any sensory input, if you don't speak, if you don't see anything, cut off everything, for 3 days, fully alert if you sit, the neuroplasticity in your brain changes so dramatically. It's well established, well documented that it changes so dramatically that you can be a completely new person in a matter of 24 to 48 hours. This much is possible. The yoga center and the various other infrastructure we're building in Bangalore and the yogic city that we're building in United States and also the Delhi center that will come up soon, all these things and more all these things and more are focused towards human well-being, towards providing tools and right kind of atmosphere where people can work towards their own well-being. Please make use of this and let's make it happen. So today, 40 years after that day, here we are relaunching Inner Engineering Online once again in a new format, in 7 steps. Transform your life with Sadhguru. Let's make it happen.